Hello, beautiful people. Hey, look, before I start this session, I have a big announcement to make. And, the documentary that's been in the works for a long time about my son Eric's life, it's almost finished. But in order to get to that finish line, the director producer Paula Marino needs some help. So she needs funds to cover all the professional fees that will be involved to bring the story to the screen, like a professional story editor, a music composer, a sound mixer, an illustrator, animator, etc., etc. Now, Paula created a crowdfunding page where you can donate whatever you feel comfortable donating. You can also donate by purchasing a 30-minute session with one of our mediums, or by purchasing an item from the Erik merchandise store, like the one I'm wearing. Saving the world one prank at a time. It's an embroidered image, so it's really nice. So anyway, go visit channelingericdoc.com and take a look at it. This project is very near and dear to my heart. And one of my greatest wishes is to get the story out to more people so we can help more people. And I want you to go and see the trailer that's on the channelingericdoc.com. It's so moving. It's so powerful. It was my first reaction. It was a gut punch. Um, but it says it all. So look at the trailer and let me know what you think. Thank you, guys. Here we are back with Ginger Bailey. Check her out on the screen and in the description box with my son Erik, lovely Erik on the other side. And we are going to continue with the interview with LBJ, Lyndon Johnson. I already read in part one, I read the backstory. It's whatever, just read it. I don't have time. I don't have time to repeat it. All right, so we'll go on with the community questions. All right. Thank you, Mr. Johnson, President Johnson, for agreeing to stay for part two, by the way.
He said, yeah, he says, thank you, Lisa. Dr. Medhoos, he's getting all right. Dr. Medhoos.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. So,
yeah.
I'll make sure I didn't miss anything. Why did you, LBJ, Lyndon Baines Johnson, and the Kennedys have such a tense relationship, particularly Bobby Kennedy? We sort of talked a little bit about this in part one. And have those earthly matters been resolved since you've all returned back home? I know the answer to that is yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely, they have. He's talking about different, like the way they grew up. That's a big deal of it. It's a big deal of the way they grew up. Yeah, he shows like you kind of look at him as from the other side of the tracks in a way, if you want to look at it that way, compared to the Kennedys. If he's not saying he was like that, but poor, compared to them. They grew up with money. There was they did. They were very arrogant. Arrogant is how he's putting it. Kind of arrogant in a way.
Is that what it was?
Right. Yes. And something else too is there's a lot of personality clashing he's showing, especially with Bobby. And I think we talked a little bit about this, but there was some jealousy. He's admitting that there was jealousy, and jealousy in a way of the way it worked in his mind was, you think you're, this or that just because you had it all handed to you and you're popular and you have the looks and the money and that kind of thing, right? And he like frowned upon that on himself, like for himself. Like, in other words, he would look down on them too. So, in the way that he thought, well, you just don't know, what it's like to be on this side, and you had it easy, things like that, but there was clashing in the personalities too, and he just didn't think very much of Bobby, out of all of them, and I think he was one of the ones that were more disconnected, more arrogant, as in whatever kind of attitude he's saying, and he didn't like that. He liked him to be like.
Did you mourn JFK's death, by the way? Were you sad that he died?
Oh. In his own way, he's saying, in his own way. because being that, yeah, he's talking about later on, like at the time, it was almost like a surreal type situation. Like, like we talked about earlier, he wasn't even sure this was going to happen. Like they were going to like be successful.
Oh, right.
He knew it was coming, but they weren't even sure it was going to be successful. And when they were, he felt bad. He really felt bad for,
Jackie.
the family. Yeah, Jackie and the family, the kids. He did feel bad. He did. He felt bad. But then he would tell himself, this is business.
Oh,
This is business. You got to get back to your business mind. Yep. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll read this, but I'm going to modify it. LBJ, you were part of the deep state, taking orders from whom? Let's say, were you part of the deep state? Just a yes or no.
He says yes in a way because he followed what was told to be, he followed what they said.
Who were you taking orders from? Was there principally a general,
It's
head of the CIA, FBI?
Yeah, he's showing me more like that kind of thing, like more like CIA type leaders, that kind of thing and it's not just them that are part of it. There's a mixture in there of the government. But he's saying like, it wasn't like one person. There wasn't like one person. There's a group of them.
Like that. Yeah, the deep state black ops group. Was JFK going to stop the Federal Reserve from handling our money since he was printing our own greenbacks? And maybe that was the program they did not like him to stop. But anyway, was he going to stop it?
It was on his list, is what I'm hearing. It was on his list of things to stop.
The reasons that he was killed?
Yeah, it's part of it. Okay, because there is a lot of things going on that he was trying to stop. And again, when you have somebody in this power position, there's other people that are in control of this. And if you don't follow some of the things, then, they don't like that. So, they try to manipulate it the way they can. They don't always have the power to do like, since that time, since the assassination, a lot of things have kind of changed within, like, I hate when I lose my words. The guys that protect the president. Why can't I think of the Secret Service? Yes, a lot of things have changed within that and the way they do things. But there's always a window. There's always an opening. He says.
Now I'm trying to figure out if we're going to be able to do all of these. Well, I've got from question 19 through 37. I hope I can get to all of them, but maybe some of them will have short answers. I don't know. But we'll try.
I have a feeling some of them we probably already answered too.
Yeah, that sometimes happens. All right, number 19. Were you involved in the USS Liberty being hit by Israel and the cover-up of it?
Yes.
Why? Why did you want that to happen? Were you involved in the hit or the cover-up or both?
Both. He's saying, let's see. He's just saying, yes, that he was a part of it. This has to do with money. Oh. I just heard money. I just heard it had to do with money and control.
Money coming from whom? Israel? Israel's enemies?
He's saying that it did. Is it the enemies? Israel's enemies is what I'm hearing. Yeah, I'm hearing Israel's enemies, not Israel, but Israel's enemies.
Israel to get in trouble. You want the world to turn against Israel because of that. Is that right?
At the time, yes. At the time, he's talking about again following orders. It's like he makes it like following orders, following through what needs to be done, and all these things are like almost like playing a chess game.
Yeah.
Is how he shows it, putting your
you're one of the pawns in many cases.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Okay. What do you think about the carnage of the Vietnam War and what it had on the people of Vietnam and the emotional toll that it had on the U.S. Army soldiers?
From a spiritual point of view, okay, he's talking about, okay, so from a spiritual point of view, he wants to say that He did have to, with his life review, he did have to, like, there was a lot of things that he had to, like, experience from the other side. So that was a little difficult, you know, not that there was judgment, but it's still, there were choices he could have made that could have made it less. Um, he's saying, though, but when he was here, he didn't have regret during the time, but he's showing that before he died, okay, that he did think about it, you know, that he felt bad, but mostly before he died, he's saying, not long before he died. He's saying that with the war, again, it was pushed, okay, not just his ideals of, I want this war to keep going, but he's saying that he didn't want to be like a president that didn't win the war kind of thing. You know, we always win the war. You know, he didn't want to be that president that didn't win the war. So ego. It was ego. It was ego. Yeah.
So was there monetary gain in escalating the Vietnam War?
There was monetary gain. There's control, monetary gain, getting control of that side that they were fighting for, so that they can get what, you know, had something to do with trade, something with the trade or something that they had in that side of the country. And then he talks about being good for the economy. Being good for the economy. The war was good for the that's how he's showing it. But what he does say is that's the idea, but this one went too far. And if he had any regrets, it would be, in spirit you don't, but he's saying that if you want to ask about a regret, it's going to be pulling out. He should have pulled out sooner. Yeah. Pulled out sooner.
Did you actually get monetary gain? I mean, Grumman and all these people who build missiles and fighters and all that stuff. Did you get a kickback from the military industrial contract?
No, not personally. Not personally. He's saying that this was more for the group. Let's put it like that. Like it's more about the group, not individual.
All right. Okay. What was your sole contract, and what did you learn and teach? Good one. Love these.
I know, they're so good. Let's see here. Let me listen to him for a second. So he's talking about teaching, like teaching, he goes, what to do and what not to do with your presidency. He's kind of like, you know, because there were things, there were things, you know, that he did that you shouldn't do. And let me see. He's talking about teaching how to care for a society. He feels like he taught this. He felt like he taught like the people are important, individual people are important, you know, not just the country as a whole, but how if you look out for he wants to call it the little guy, you know, the lower guys, the guys that are really struggling, that builds a stronger foundation for your country. He thinks that he taught that. Okay. By the civil rights, I guess, like helping those in need, not just putting them by the wayside, you know, and not helping and just like ignoring, like they don't matter. He says every structure in the country matters. He thinks he taught that. Let's see. Oh, he's saying his contract was to be a part of drastic changes in the political history like we have. So that was a big thing in our history, right? And that was what one of his contracts, because we have many contracts. So that was one of the contracts, was the big one of his contracts, was to be president, but also to be a part of this big drastic change in history, you know, of our country. He's talking about the he's just talking again about how everybody's individual beliefs matter. You know, he tried to make that part of what this country's about. You know, your individual beliefs and religion or ethnicity too. You know, and your ways.
it sounds that some of the things you were here to teach were you were also here to learn. It sounds like you tried to learn how to not be a racist, basically. You
Yeah,
did
yes,
try to learn.
yeah. Yeah, he says that was a big one too. That was a big one. But that was, again, he says, part of looking at each individual lives. Not that there's so many of us, you can't look at each one like
Yeah,
personally,
no.
but he's saying try to think of it in a way of it's not just one big country of a bunch of people, but everybody matters. Everybody has a place. And, if you don't have that foundation, you fall apart. You're weak, and so you need to make the country strong by starting at the bottom in a way, but not saying like people that are living in poverty are at the bottom.
Right.
But it's kind of how he's trying to explain it.
Okay, I got it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, why did you die so young? You were only 65. I mean, you drank and smoked, you had stress, poor diet, maybe that contributed to it. And what's your advice for those of us who want to live into their 90s? Count me out on that one.
Yeah. Take care of your body. Take care of your body. He says, that there isn't a set time or day that you leave this planet, but there is a range, like a
Oh,
range of
yeah,
time,
right.
right? And there's also not always an exact like what's going to happen to you, but there's a little bit of it like pre-planned, right? But he is saying take care of yourself, take care
Yeah,
of the way your body, be aware of your body. He says don't just take it for granted, is
absolutely.
what he's saying. Yeah, don't take it for granted. It's
Okay,
important.
we're gonna
Take care
have
of your
to
health.
hopefully have short answers for this, LBJ. What are your thoughts on Trump? I don't know if you can do a short answer on that. Do you think that he's going to bring America backwards or forwards when it comes to civil rights?
Okay. So, first of all, from a spiritual point of view, it's necessary. That's what he says right away. Every president that's there is necessary from
Okay.
a spiritual point of view. And then he says, he's repeating what he said earlier in the other one, that it doesn't matter who is
Yeah.
leading the country. Okay. They're going to have their positive and negatives.
Yeah.
So, with the civil rights, though, he says whatever he does is not always going to be permanent, and
Uh,
he's going to make it just short and sweet like that. He says, you know what? He doesn't have an opinion like, oh, I think he's doing the wrong thing or the right thing.
okay.
But he is changing a lot of things of civil rights, he's saying, but there's always a reason. Always remember that there's always a spiritual reason behind it. And even if it doesn't look good, from your point of view, again, that's perspective. He says that there's always a reason, and it will be what's necessary for the country to move forward.
I'm not
That's what he
sure
says.
that Trump is doing anything. If there's any of his stuff related to civil rights yet. Anyway, I'm not sure. But I try to
He's saying that I don't know because I don't follow this, but what
I
he's
don't know.
saying is there's probably some talk about certain things, and things that he's talking about doing.
All right.
So,
I hope it's good. It seems like that the Democrat Party is so angry now. It's always fight, fight, fight. Let's have a brawl. I can beat up any Republican. It's like, oh, it's just violence in the Columbia University and other schools. What is going on with that part of the
people have their ideals. They're very passionate about their thoughts. They're very passionate about how they feel about their beliefs in the political race, I guess you could call it.
I feel like the left is more right brain, so they're really good at messaging and emotion. They have a lot of emotion. It seems like the right is more logic and non-emotional driven, but I don't know. Maybe that's part of it.
I think this is Ginger. And again, I don't watch his stuff, but I think that there. Okay, and Erik is agreeing with me. He says there is going to be that in both sides.
Oh,
There's going to
yeah.
be a little bit of that in one, little bit in the other. So yeah,
Yeah. But the summer of
yeah,
love, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to even watch that.
yeah. He's just talking about that. You're going to have that on both sides. You know.
What are you doing on the other side now?
Yeah. He says. just taking it easy, just enjoying the peace. It's very strange. He says it's very, very strange to explain, is how he's saying it. Like hard to explain. Like
type A, so it must be hard.
yeah. He's talking about it's just very peaceful. He shows me like he does a lot of. He does guide. He does guide people. Still.
Politics?
Yeah, not
Okay.
politics. He's saying not politics, but he does do some guiding and helping with people here to guide in a way to help people that deal with a lot of mental health stuff. For some reason, that's what he's talking about, mental health issues. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. I don't. I have 11 questions more. What do you want to do? Say part 3 or?
It's up to you. It's up to you, Lisa.
I mean, I don't want to go past your time, so it'd probably take another 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah. Might as well finish it.
All right. What past lives influenced your incarnation as LBJ?
So he's showing me like he was a soldier like in Jesus time, like 26, really? 26
BC?
AD 26 AD, I guess.
After Jesus' time, then.
No, he's saying
Oh,
this was
AD.
during.
Oh, yeah, during, because 0 is when he was born. All
Yeah,
right,
he's
about that.
saying no, it was during Jesus'
Right,
time.
right.
And he was a Roman soldier. He's showing me ancient Rome.
Wow.
He was a soldier. Yeah, he was part of like the government. Yeah,
Oh, boy.
yeah.
All right. What do you want the American people to know about about politics and the government? Did we already cover that pretty much, Ginger?
We did. Just again, the foundation he's saying is important. Okay, make sure that you're trying to create and keep the foundation of the country strong. Is what he says. I mean, we talked about it.
What can we
Yeah.
do to reassemble the new family?
He's saying something real quick. He's talking about education. So important to look at the young. Okay, the young are going to be your leaders in the future. So education is important. And he also is kind of talking about like if he was here still, that he would try to get free education, like make it in a way where it's covered.
Yeah.
And make sure that the education is encouraged. Make sure that like even grade schools and high schools he's talking about teach them how to become adults.
Yeah,
they don't have that. They have history. They have right. How do you become an adult? So there's not that fear when they leave high school, that this is what you do. This is how you do it, to make sure. Teach them how to set goals in life. But I mean, he can go on. He's like, I could go on, but it's important.
Do you believe that we should bring education back to the communities, back to the people, instead of having it distant in the federal government? So we get rid of the Department of Education? I mean, it really has not helped the stats at all. And give vouchers so people can take their kids to whatever school seems to perform better.
He says there should be more freedom. There should be more freedom, is all he's saying. He's saying there should be more freedom. There should be more freedom with this, but it should also be assembled in a way where it's offered to everybody, and that there's more. He keeps talking about what's taught within it, not just what is available, but what's encouraged within the education system for kids.
I agree.
Yeah.
Were you a very religious man, and what were your thoughts about the existence of an afterlife?
He says he was. He says Christian. Like a Christian, a Christian religion. And he says that, let me see if I get this right. He's saying that his thoughts of an afterlife weren't what he thought what it was, what he found out. So he thought there was going to be judgment and punishment. So, yeah. So, yeah. But it wasn't, obviously. So, yeah.
Okay. We answered this one already. Does he have any past life connections to ancient Rome politics? Well, that's true. Cross that off.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There you go. That was already answered.
What are your thoughts about term limits? Just a
Term limits. Let's see what he says here. Okay, so he doesn't have an opinion, he says, from a spiritual point of view, but he is gonna say that there's a reason why they're not doing it. I don't even know what this is. Something about congressmen being, is this like how long they're in Congress
Yeah.
or something? Okay. That's what Erik said. He says that there's two sides to this. There's some people like believe that it should, and some say that it shouldn't. But he's saying that the longer someone's there, the more experience they have, so the more helpful they are. That's all he's saying.
Yeah,
But
true.
there is two sides to this, Erik says.
The
You know.
career politicians that, you know.
Yeah, there is corruption. There's more corruption, but he says that Erik's saying that there would be corruption either way, but it's a longer corruption, I guess, if there are people that are corrupt staying in there longer. So it should be more about assessing. And this is really interesting. He's saying that I don't think is a question today, but he's saying that anybody who is an employee of the government, this is not me saying this, should have a mental health evaluation, he says.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Are you planning on reincarnating?
Yes, he said yes.
In our lifetime?
Not so from a spiritual point of view. Obviously, he's already incarnated. This always goes way above my head, but he's saying like he's still there. He has not reincarnated.
Okay. What do you see the U.S. headed for in the future? Where do you see it going?
The what? What was it?
Where do you see the USA headed in the future?
So there are going to be a lot of things that are going to be torn down. Like he shows, like torn down. Some people will be okay with it, some won't. But but there's not an end really. But he's saying in the end, there's going to be. He's using that word because there will be a time that there's not going to be government like we have right now. But this is way down the road. He says there will be leaders, but he says that there's going to be more involvement in the people, like people being more involved than they are right now, he says.
Great.
Yeah, he's saying there'll be way more involvement. It's not just you get to vote, but you actually have some more say-so in things. It's something we've never seen before, but this is so far down the road. So in the closer road, he says it's going to be a lot of the same. Okay. Yeah.
This might play into that answer. Will the governments ever be replaced by AI? And if so, would that be beneficial? I bet a lot of parts of the government will be.
Yes, they will. And some of it will be beneficial. Just like when we got the internet, just like when we got technology. Anytime technology comes, there's positive and negative, he says, to this.
Will it be like more AI will allow us to directly vote for things more? The policies, not just the person, but our representative, but actually, I want to vote for that, tearing down the Federal Reserve. Yes, and everybody votes for it individually. Will that be an AI thing or not?
He's saying a little bit of that. Yes, a little bit. It's going to change the way things are laid out somehow. Like the way things are shown to us and laid out, almost like it's thought through deeper about things. Like they will know, like if you do this bill or this law, this is what's going to happen down the road. Like they'll be able to see in the future what's going to happen. AI can predict, have predictions. Yeah.
All right, just a couple of real cool questions. Did you ever visit the White House and play tricks on the sitting presidents?
He's saying yes in the beginning. In the beginning, when he passed, he did. He did. He's saying that it was kind of strange to him when he passed, but because he just like didn't realize it at first. Like he didn't know that was his body, and he didn't realize. Okay, wait a minute, now I'm dead. You know, it was really quick. I guess what happened to him. I feel like my chest hurts.
I think.
Oh, did he? Okay, my chest hurts.
I'm guessing.
Well, yeah, I don't know. But he's saying that he did. It wasn't like a ghost ghosting, you know, like you
Right.
would ghost, you know, with him. But he did. He played some tricks a little bit, but just because he thought that was kind of cool that he could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He says yes.
when you were in the White House, did you, is it haunted? Did you come to that and did you experience any
There
paranormal
is.
activity?
There's paranormal activity in the White House. There's energies. There's it's almost like certain pockets he's showing, certain pockets there. You can feel, you know, the differences. He says he doesn't really notice it a lot when he was president, but he's saying now that he's on the other side, there is. Yes.
All right, last question. What advice
Okay.
can you give us about being informed about what the government is really doing?
Well, there's a lot of self-motivation going on. A lot of us like not looking out for the people. A lot of that going on,
There
you
are
know.
things in that though.
And yeah, and let's see if there's anything else he can give me. Like he says, pretty much most of the conspiracies are true. He's talking about like a lot of the conspiracies about like aliens.
Oh yeah, right. Oh, did
He's
you ever meet
talking
an
about.
alien? Did you ever meet an alien? Or
He did. He says yes to this. He says yes to this. But he did not know until afterwards that it was an
Oh,
alien,
wow.
is what he's saying.
Was it living
But
or
he did
dead?
know.
Living or dead?
Living. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, he said it looked just like us. Looked just like a
Oh yeah,
person. He
yeah.
didn't know until afterwards. But he's saying there's a lot of things going on in the government that are going to be taken down over time because there are going to be some presidents coming in that are not going to follow the lead of
Right.
the puppeteering type thing. But it's going to be a slow process, okay? Because if you shock the whole system, you know, then some of those things that are going on are what's holding us together in a way. It's almost like you got an old, that's funny the way he's putting this. You got an old car and all that oil and grease is holding it together. But if you clean that all off, then parts start falling apart,
Oh
you know, kind of
wow.
thing
I
is how
like
he's
that
putting it.
analogy.
Yeah, that's how he's putting it. So you have to do it slowly so you can replace the things that, you know, you're cleaning up.
Makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Thank
that's
you,
good.
Lyndon Baines Johnson. Thank you, Eric. And of course,
Yeah,
thank you, Ginger.
yeah.
You guys
Thank
check
you.
her out down in the description box below. And it's probably been on the screen already. And please subscribe. Hit that subscribe button unless you already have.
Yes.
Unsubscribe. And
Like,
like button too. Love you all. Bye.
love you. Love you. Bye.
Bye.